What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. This is Tyler's Talking RC podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Today we got a little bit of a special. As you can see, I got a whole crew here. We are talking drag racing. Before we get into that, though, a couple things. The merch has finally become available, so you guys can check that out. Link will be down below. We get the hats, the shirts, a bunch of stuff on there, and soon to be drag racing apparel as well. I just did some scale truck stuff. As far as upcoming events, we got the February freezer stuff coming up this week. We got nothing this weekend, so if you're looking to come practice, this is the weekend to do it for the indoor stuff. But other than that, I don't have much news for you today, so we're going to get right into it. Talking drag racing, so we got mostly going to be upcoming events, track rules, classes, and just kind of just giving an overlook of what the upcoming season is going to look like. We're going to do a second show on the more technical part of setup and like electronics and stuff like that. We just don't have enough time to do both in one, and we don't want to make you guys sit there for too long. So I'm going to turn it over to these guys, let them introduce themselves, and then I'm going to just kind of sit back tonight and listen myself. So whichever way you guys want to start, just... Sorry about the... Careful the mic. Oh, nice, Cody. That's really... Sorry about the mic noise there. Cody's a newbie with the mic here. Sorry about my camera angle is only so wide, and this is the most people we had, so sorry about that. But if you guys want to start, whoever wants to start here, have at it.
I'll start. I'm Chris from RNS Racing. I've been drag racing in the area for about 12 years now. Competitively for about 6 years now. I'm started RNS Racing with just my brother and my friend Roscoe. So that's where the RNS Racing comes from. And these gentlemen joined my team this year. So,
what's up, guys? Cody from RNS Racing. I'm based out of Massachusetts. I think I'm the only guy out of Massachusetts. The rest of these guys are all Connecticut. These guys brought me on last year, which was also my first season focused on just no prep drag racing. Before that, it was mostly speed runs in the infraction class. Made it up into the 130 category. So I kind of know how to go fast, and then I saw these guys going, 70 miles an hour in 132 feet, and said, you know what, I want to go fast in a shorter distance and have some competitiveness added to it. So joined RNS last year, good group of guys that like going fast. So that's what we're here to talk about today. Then we got these guys.
What's going on over here, guys?
We got Bill and his son.
What's up, buddy? Come on.
My name's...
You don't have to get too close. You're just talking to buddy.
Just talk normal.
You're good.
My name's Colin, and I'm from RNS Racing.
There you go.
Yeah, nice.
There we go.
Nice
Good
to have
job.
you, Colin.
You got to worry about that kid on the line with 13.5. That's good.
Dominant 13.5.
Absolutely.
the youngest
sure.
active racer, I believe,
Yep.
Yeah.
on our
There you
team.
go.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's awesome, buddy.
And I'm Bill. I'm Colin's dad. RNS Racing, Monster Grip driver this year. Last year was my first year drag racing. So learned a lot. You'll learn a lot in your first season. Trust me. You'll spend a lot of money and you'll learn a lot.
Yep.
It's technically my first year, too, really.
True.
We
True.
just put the strip in over this last season, and it's pretty insane how far it's come, even in this 1 year.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
It's like there's something new coming every week lately.
Yeah.
So drag racing as a whole has grown
incredible.
incredibly since the NPRC movement, the no prep movement, because even all those years I've drag raced, we'd only get groups of 5-10 people racing with us.
Yeah.
That started like, what, 2-3 years ago now?
The no prep stuff.
Yeah.
The last year and a half or so, it completely blew up.
Yeah, this last year and a half. The year just before we put in the drag strip, we started seeing how crazy it is. And then we put in that strip, and of course, it's been insane for us, dude. So many bodies, tires, setups, custom chassis. I don't even know how many third-party companies have started making parts of these things. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's for sure. Even companies have started other companies and started making multiple chassis and...
Yeah, I mean, example right in front of us here. This is all carbon fiber. Whose car was this?
That's
That's
mine.
Bill's. Tell them about it, Bill.
Yeah, you might as well talk about the car in front of us here.
It's a 5.7 Aero. I just picked it up at the end of the season. It's got a DRK 160, Team Powers 3.5 turn motor in it. I've only actually ran the car twice. We ran 2 races at the end of the season, and the car did really well. I was able to go 3 rounds in Street Eliminator with a new to me car, which is like almost an unheard of. I mean, usually when you go out with a new car, you have the new car blues. I know I had them all summer long because I had 6 new cars and none of them went straight.
Yeah, that was kind of the first season anyway. Yeah, a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
This car here in particular is a purpose-built drag car where a lot of them are conversion cars.
Yep.
The 5.7 was built specifically for drag racing.
Looks like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unlike like the car that you and I ran last season.
The TLR.
The Exotech Vader. You were taking a TLR 2250 and just kind of slapping it on a short course wheelbase chassis, and
that's what I was saying. All these I call them third-party companies because they're not the big ones, but they're getting there. It's incredible, really. The 5.7. Yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to them if they check
the same company is GFRP. Yep. They do a lot of dirt oval stuff, and the drag racing blows it out of the water.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's doing dirt oval anyway? Sorry, anybody out there doing dirt oval.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more companies are starting to put out cars where all of their stuff is in-house. Like the transmissions are even their own anymore. They're not even running like a B6 or slash transmission or anything like that. It's just all their own purpose-built stuff from the ground up. So you're going to see a lot more of these full carbon shocked wheelie bar purpose-built cars at the top of the pack.
But so that's everybody involved with us today. So not to get too much deep into the car here, but we're going to talk... I don't know if you guys want to go over track rules or classes first. It's up to you.
We can do track rules first. That'll be something that's very specific to our 6 events here, which we'll go over the schedule in a little bit. These track rules are the track rules for this track. If you race in other parts of Connecticut or Massachusetts, New York, Pittsburgh, wherever you go, you're probably going to see different rules. They're going to be very similar, but keep in mind that these ones are specific for this place.
We will have these posted at the time of the event, and usually we're probably going to permanently post them, so if there's any questions, I'll try to post them up after the show as well, and links to all their stuff too, so check that out in the description. But we're going to go over it now on the show, so I'll let one of you guys take over.
I'm going to read through it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so... first and most important thing that you kind of expect in any kind of racing, whether you come here and do carpet racing, is you have people that are running that race, track officials, so to say. So in drag racing, there's some dispute once in a while over decisions from crowd input and stuff, and to get rid of all of that, the first most important track rule to know is that the race host, whoever's hosting the race, is the final say on all calls made. If video needs to be used or official cameras to make a call, it's going to be the video or pictures or feedback from us or from RCMadness if they're going to live broadcast the events that we have. Those will be the cameras used to make that final call, and we do have the final call. The length you can expect everywhere you go is 132 feet. We're going to have the porta tree set up, starting line sensor, stage beam, guard beam, finish line with mile per hour and ET. Each class is going to have its dedicated tree type. So you're either going to have, your stage lights both come on, and then it'll flash singular yellow until green.
That will be the sportsman tree.
Yep.
So that's the bracket class. We'll have that one.
Yep, which we'll go into details of that too. Or, it might flash yellow and then green right away. Or it's going to be instant green. So for outlaw, there's going to be, no trying to guess the countdown of the tree. You're just going to be waiting for green, and when it goes green, you got to have that reaction time down pat. So another very important part of track rules is going to be that the burnouts are designated 2 feet behind the line to try and keep any sort of tire residue or prep or anything like that off of the track. That's a very important thing, is that these guys are going to let us run prep up here, but we're going to run it properly. It's not going to be wet tires. You can't come through tech with wet tires. So a burnout will be required. You don't have to do a big John Force burnout. Just, squeak them clean, I guess you could say, and then stage your car. After you do your run, no racing back down the track. We've seen some issues where you do a clean run, you might have won and you're a little hyped up, and you come back down the track too hot, take out timing, and it's gonna take time out of the event every time we have to fix a guard beam or fix the ET or the mile per hour because the wall got bumped.
Yeah, I want to put a star on that one. Definitely no racing back down because one, people are going to get hurt because usually somebody might be walking on track at that point.
Right.
Messing up the beams just slows down the entire day because they can be a real pain to get lined back up sometimes. And there's honestly just no need for you to rip backwards down the track while someone is staging or setting up. It's just not safe.
Yeah.
So definitely a star on that one. That's a good rule.
Yep. And if you do, just to touch on that, if you do and you hit equipment or endanger anybody like that, it's not going to be a warning. You're just all done because it's very important. So you got to make sure no racing back down the track. And then we got a little bit of a time constraint coming in this year. Last year was the first year of the track being up here. First year of anybody running drag up here, and a first year for a lot of people running drag in general. So you have to kind of ease into stuff like this. But this season we're going to have time limits. One of those is that when your opponent gets to the starting line, you have 2 minutes. Be efficient, make sure your stuff is charged, ready, tires clean, which we can get back into that more when we have a tech episode. We'll give you a little bit more consistency tips and stuff like that.
We'll go into the time a little bit. So we're gonna work on making sure that we have a way of communicating properly. So me and Bill talked about it, including having like walkie-talkies inside because I know some guys pit inside in the building. So
It's only so much room.
just getting that communication. Once your class is called, you definitely got to get ready. And then the only reason that we should rotate your race, say if you're race number 1, 2, 3, is if your car broke and you were trying to fix it, and the other racer, which I think we're going to get to, I believe I put this in there, allows you time.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
It's up to the opponent to give you the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is a blessing, so use that time wisely.
Yeah.
Most people,
Yeah.
99% of the time,
We'll give you
will
the
give
time.
you the time.
Yep.
Don't start any fights prior.
Yeah.
Play nice.
Right.
You might have to fix your car.
Yep. Well,
You've
even
had
help.
that, even just topping off a battery.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in that situation where I made a pass and, I went to the next round and the guy's like, well, let's race right now. And I'm like, I want to get you on a fresh battery. You got a fresh battery. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Right. Yeah. That stuff comes in handy.
So with having the multiple classes, it's going to give you some time to have your stuff ready.
Sure.
Definitely want to work on making sure that you have a battery for every car for the different classes, so you're not using the same one.
If not more than one.
Yeah.
Because you can always. How many times last season did it happen to me that I drew one and then one again, or I drew
last and then one.
or last, yeah, and then first, so you're the last person to run, and then the first person to run. So having 2 batteries really helps there. Or I had drawn first, we did a redraw, and I thought I'd have some time, and I was first again. So to have multiple batteries, or just make sure you've got a decent enough charger that'll charge you in a couple minutes is a big help. That's for sure.
I guess you can finish reading that one.
Yeah,
I actually did with some good
so,
info in there.
So if you don't make it to the line in time, obviously, you're going to be disqualified. But if your opponent gave you the time to make those repairs, and then come the end of the round, when it's time for you guys to go up again, you're not going to get another 2 minutes. I mean, you had the rest of the rounds. If you need help, ask. Any face at this table, if Tyler's out there too, he'll help you if he has a minute. Just ask for help. We want everybody to get out there and race and have fun. So
Yeah, just one of the complaints, no matter where you go, is time frame and how long people are sitting around not doing anything.
yeah,
So when your opponent does give you the time, once that last race goes, you have to be ready at that last race, or else you'll end up losing that round.
Yeah.
We're not going to give, like he's saying, any more time once that last run of that round races.
Right.
Yeah.
Because unless you were the last race or second to last race, and then there's only one race after you in an amount of time, you're gonna have 5, 6, 7 races from the time that you get bumped to the end to the time that end comes.
Yeah.
So you've got plenty of time. 90%.
It's generally set up for you to have time. There just might be situations where you were saying you get the luck of the draw back to back. But unfortunately, as drag racing grows, the time rules are going to get more and more strict just because we only have so much sunlight to run these things in.
Right.
And once the sun goes down, the track gets cold, and we don't really have lights at the moment, so we have to keep things moving.
Yeah, and people wanted to run multiple classes, which we'll get into the classes here too after the track rules, but We want to give you those classes. So
Yeah.
with that comes, kind of the
We all play
unspoken agreement
Structure.
from all of us. Yeah,
You need
that
the
we're-
structure,
yeah,
or things
gotta
are just
adhere
going
to
to
it.
take too long. That's really
Yep.
what it boils down to.
So then after that, we get into infractions, I guess you could call it. We're going to do something a little bit different than you've probably raced before, but in our opinion, something that makes it a little bit easier. It'll cut down a lot of time trying to make decisions. Is we're going to do, if you want to explain, it's called first infraction.
So normally in drag racing we do first or worst, but to limit the amount of confusion,
That's Chris hunting for a nice word.
yeah, we're gonna just do first infraction losers race. And when I put this rule in here, I didn't just make it just for our group. I did communicate with local groups to make sure that we were making the best decision for this rule, because I was a big pusher for the first or worst. I like running it realistic.
Yeah.
But I've been
Yeah.
to tracks all over the Northeast, and it's always been an issue no matter where we go.
Mhm.
So to limit,
Do that the red light with the crossing the line analogy, because that one
Yep.
explained it pretty good to me of why you went this direction.
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so what the rule was before was if a driver red lights and then the other driver goes out and then crosses the center line or hits the wall, the car that actually hit the wall or crossed the center line would have lost that race.
That would have been the worst.
That would have been the worst
Probably the
infraction.
worst, yeah.
Right.
Which is why he went this direction, because deciding what is worse is where he's saying the argument gets a little, I don't know.
It's where lines get blurred.
Yeah, lines
Yeah.
get blurry. Or
Yeah.
oh, crossing the line wasn't as bad as red lighting. I should have won this and that. So
Right.
he red lit first. He got the infraction. It's over right there.
Yep.
And just to explain why that works specifically in this situation, obviously there's going to be many different ways for the first infraction rule to come into place. Is let's say someone does red light and then you cross or hit the wall. The second they red lit, your run was dead.
So,
So-
let off.
Just lift.
Yeah.
Just
you don't
lift.
need to push your car.
Yep. There's no hero in sending your car on a run that you don't need to. Save your battery, save the wear and tear. If they red light or whatever infraction comes worse, if they hit the wall, cross, just lift, take that W. Every tenth of a second that you're on the throttle with these cars is tearing them up somewhere. So just save it.
Yeah, when it comes to the race day, you just got to be a smart racer and not worry about going for records.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
What else we got? Infractions.
And then we have all class rules must be followed or grounds for disqualification. So we're going to get into class rules after this discussion too. That kind of just touches on, make sure that you're not coming in with batteries over 844 or underweight 2S 8.44 voltage. I know some people probably don't know what I'm talking about, but just make sure that you're following the class rules. That's a big track rule importance too. And then just to touch on one last thing there is that your race coordinators, which in this case is going to be us, RNS Racing, up here for these 6 main events that we're going to have up here, we have the final say. So if something happens that someone might not agree with, we're going to listen to every side of it. But again, we're going to have the final say in that. So.
And I'm going to try to record and live broadcast all these races. So
Yeah.
come the first event, or actually prior to the first event, I'll probably...
Yeah, we'll be testing quite a bit before
I'll
the
have.
first event.
What I'm thinking is going to be, a webcam pointed down the track, probably just in front of the tree or behind it, whatever goes there, and then probably one right at the sensors, picture in picture. So if something does happen, we'll be able to go right back in the recording and check the whole thing. And obviously, you guys can watch live too.
Yeah, the first one of our 6 events up here is in May, so there's plenty of time to kind of get out there and iron out some kinks.
Yeah, I'd imagine we're going to start getting out there at
Sooner
the
than
beginning
that,
of
yeah.
April.
Yeah, as soon as the
Yeah.
temperature gets to a reasonable level, and
We'll get all
obviously
that
the
squared
snow's not
away.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, as long as
Yeah.
it's not 30
There's been some
degrees.
Right.
yeah, there's been some 30-degree hits out there though. So
Yeah, and we'll have PA stuff with the speakers going and stuff. So
cool.
this last year was obviously just we had no idea what was going on because we just put the drag strip in pretty much on the fly, just decided to throw one in. So it was kind of a learning curve. So this year should be more structured, obviously, with the written rules and these guys coming to do events. So that's all the track rules. Like I said, it's going to be posted, definitely more structured. So we're going to follow these. It may be a change here a little bit, but it's looking pretty good so far. So other than the rules and the infractions, I think we're going to move into the classes now.
Yep.
All right, so we'll let these guys talk about the classes. See what's going on here.
So there's going to be 4 classes that we're running up here. We're going to have your Street Outlaw, your 13.5, our Bracket class, which we'll explain what that means, and the Dirty Den Gasser class, which is going to be kind of like your like beginner spec class, I guess you could call it. It's a XL5 and a 12-turn Titan. So it's going to be like a really basic, cheap entry point beginner class. We're going to start talking about Outlaw first because that's, I would say probably the most popular class.
That's what this guy is, right?
Yeah, yep, that's what this car is.
So it's like 90% of the guys running that, right?
Most people, yeah. You're going to see an influx of people running in like Gasser or 13.5 and stuff this year too.
Quite a few of them getting built,
Yeah. So we're going to start with Street Outlaw. So the rules that you're going to hear, again, like I said, are specific here for our events, but they're very close to what everybody else is going to run.
Yeah, so I took NPRC's rules,
Right.
and then just, again, discussed it with the local area, so our racers that race here in the Northeast, if they're going to these certain locations, they don't have to change a bunch of things on their cars.
Right. Plus,
You know,
if you plan
This was a national rule set. That was a guideline. It doesn't necessarily mean that it had to be our exact rules.
Yeah.
But I only changed like one rule on it. So.
Yeah, it was like, wheelie bar. So basically, if you are on vacation in Florida, which we'll post these, but these are probably the rules you're going to have to adhere to, basically anywhere you go, other than the exception of, like an inch and a half on the wheelie bar. But we'll get there. So first and foremost, rule number 1 is a 2-wheel drive, 12 to 13.5-inch wheelbase, no 4-wheel drive, mid-motor and rear motor only, 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive conversions, so like you could say like a slash 4x4 with the front shafts taken out, not convertible like that, nope. And then that's just not allowed. So full speed control timing, boost, tuning, all that stuff, throttle expo, whatever your controller or ESC does, other than TSM or AVC, no TSM and AVC, all fair game. And then the motor is any commonly over-the-counter sold 10-scale RC motor.
That rule actually changed from the previous years because it was any motor.
Yeah.
But in this class, you don't need anything bigger than a 10-scale motor because when you're running on 2S, these are the more efficient motors anyway.
With the exception of that Castle 6400 is a little bit bigger, I guess
Still
you could say,
10
but it's
scale,
still a 10-scale motor
It's
with
more
a bigger shaft.
closer to the short course
Right.
size.
And then same with battery, any commercially available in-store or online lithium-ion polymer, so LiPo, or graphene, LiPo high voltage. Just keep in mind that you still can only roll through the line at 844. And then hard case is not required. 1 battery only, so you can't run like two S's in parallel. It's only a 1 battery, and it's got to have a plug or bullets. You can't have it hardwired to a battery.
To an ESC.
Yeah, that hardwired to the ESC, I mean, yeah.
I'll be a pain to charge it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Well, I'm just
and
going
then-
to solder my battery.
Same with tires, any commercially available tire in-store or online, rubber foam insert style, front and rear. Who made those ones with the tires?
Proline.
So the new Proline front tires, you can run them. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about, and you can run them. Proline says that they do have room in there for foam, so those are fine. Just no O-rings or anything like
A little
that.
sliver of foam.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little piece of foam. Treaded and slicks are acceptable. No O-rings. You can run with the foam, without the foam, or air, however you want. And then just to touch on the burnout thing again, it's required while staging your car. Performed a minimum of 2 feet behind the starting line. So if you do a burnout on the starting line after we've handed out rules and told everybody about it, it's going to be grounds for disqualification. So make sure you do that burnout behind the line. Shocks must have 4 shocks, each controlling a wheel intended by typical manufacturers. Connected and operating hinge pin arms at all 4 corners of the car, and shocks must have movement visible and acceptable by the race director. So you can't run, a shock but with a tie rod, or shocks with internal limiters so it doesn't move at all. There's got to be suspension travel. We're not going to give a number per se, like it's got to have 1/8 of an inch of travel. It has to have an acceptable amount of suspension travel when it goes through.
Basically, if it moves, we'll be fine with it.
Right. Yeah. Transmission. This kind of touches on your 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive conversions. It's got to be a 3 to 5 gear tranny. Belt or link conversion drives are not allowed. The weight. This is a very important one because I know when you start getting into these carbon conversion cars. When you put them together, even with a battery sometimes, if you've put no brass on it or anything, your car could come in under 2060. So the minimum weight is 2,060 grams, or 4.54 pounds, or 72.6 ounces, whichever measurement you want to use.
When NPRC
American.
came out with that rule,
Yeah.
they took an average
Okay.
from that. Basically, I think it was the Vegas race, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They took an average from that crowd, and that's what they came up with.
Most cars are going to be over that anyways. A car that's going to perform well and hook up consistently is probably going to be a couple hundred grams over that. I know I'm almost 1,000 grams over that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
20
over that. I don't remember exactly how
I'm
much.
2,400 on my car.
End of last season, I was like 28. So I was
That's
getting
pretty
close.
heavy.
I was pretty heavy.
You would have to try to really be under that then.
Yeah.
Kind of go.
Yeah,
Kinda go
I
out
don't
your
think
way.
that car
Certain cars,
without
the
weight on
bullets
it
and stuff like that,
is lighter.
real easy to be light, but
Yeah.
the car actually performs, especially when it's in windy
Yeah.
scenarios, perform better when you
Plants
got a little
much
bit of
better.
weight.
More weight. Yeah, got you. All right.
So this is where the wheelie bar thing comes up. So NPRC had changed the wheelie bar rules to a total of 13.5 inches.
And then changed it to 14.
And then changed it to 14, and it was originally 15. We decided we're not going to play any of that, so we're just leaving it 15. So that's 15 inches from the rear of the dog bone to the end of the wheel. We're going, right? To the all the way
Yeah.
rear. Not to the axle of the wheelie bar, but to the back of your wheel.
So we're
And you
talking
can-
basically axle to here.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
rear of the dog bone to the
So
end of the
that's
wheelie bar.
Right on your rear axle, which is essentially the same as the dog bone.
Yep,
Right to the end of the wheel, not the center of the wheel.
yep.
So that's important. I got asked that one quite a few times, and honestly, I didn't have a good answer for him. I was like,
Yeah.
just make it long.
Yep.
You can
So-
actually go longer than that because that's only
What's this guy at?
That's a 10-inch bar, and then with the piece on
Yeah.
the back, that's probably
This
another inch and a half. So
This is probably right at max.
Yeah.
A 10-inch bar on this car, I believe, was going to come in around that 13.5
Does a maximum or a minimum?
maximum.
Max.
So maximum of 15.
You don't even have
Yeah.
to run a wheelie bar if you don't want, really.
right.
Yeah.
I suggest running.
Yeah, you can run no bar if you want.
if you really want. Yeah.
Maximum. Gotcha.
But just be careful when you're buying a wheelie bar. If you're on someone's website and you're like, it has to be 13.5 inches. I'm gonna buy this 13-inch bar.
That's not.
You gotta calculate in the fact that it's gonna be mounted behind the rear axle. So
And
the
then you
10-inch
have-
bars are usually pretty
Yeah,
safe.
especially mounting it on a slash with a rear motor or something like that.
Yeah,
Right.
see,
Or like an
quite a
R
bit.
design
The most,
mount.
yeah, exactly. The most
Yeah.
common mount is the R design mount, so that
Right.
brings out a little bit farther than
Yep.
the average stock mount.
Yeah, it probably mounts a good inch and a quarter further back than it would if it just mounted right to the tranny.
Gotcha.
So that's something you really got to keep in mind. And then body must be realistic looking drag car style body, kind of like the Vet. This here invisible Boltmobile, the Riddler. That's one of your more
Showing it
common, one of your more common cars there. Body must cover the wheels, and wheel wells must be a cut exposing at least half the wheel and tire. So you have to cut them out. You can't leave them, uncut to try and
So what,
pick up some mile per hour.
what would qualify as not a legal body?
Like an
custom
open wheel
made?
buggy body, or like
All those shark bodies are good?
yeah,
Yep.
yep. Those are all
Yeah, because
technically
they
dirt
have
oval
to.
bodies.
They don't have the wheel wells like.
They're getting a little blurry.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but like, say you guys probably can't see it. You can't come in with your tire like this. You got to have at least half the wheel and tire exposed too.
I saw somebody had that here.
Yeah.
Somebody had that on a Corvette here. They didn't cut the front wheel, the front wheel wells out.
Mine aren't cut out all the way. For the bodies that I'm running this season, they're not cut all the way. But you can put the car on the ground and put a wheel wrench on it because they're cut halfway.
Gotcha.
So,
That's a good way
That's
to
all
put
you
it.
need.
Yeah, with the Vet body, it kind of helps because it gets a little floppy in the front. But yeah, so you got to expose half the wheel and tire. With wings and things, this one gets a little tricky too, so listen close. Rear wings, spoilers, and side dams may extend off the body's rear deck a maximum of 3 inches and cannot be any taller than parallel to the roof with your car sitting. So you can't come over to me and tilt your car, wheelie bar heavy and go, look, it's with the roof. You got to put it down, and it's got to be level with the roof.
So this one's already got a wing on it. Can I come 3 inches off of this?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Because that's still
Whatever.
just
And
considered
then you
the
can
deck
come
of the
up
body.
to the roof line.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Which isn't much on those vet bodies, but there's some room to work with there.
Yeah.
And then rear spoilers supplied with a body. So like Biddy, if you buy a Biddy body, it comes with I think 2 different wings. Any wing that was supplied with that body is as used intended by the manufacturer is deemed legal for that body. So
So
if
if
you
it's bigger than those limitations,
but it
as
came
long as
with
it
the
came
car,
with it,
you're okay.
you're okay.
As long as you're mounting it in the way that they intended, though. So don't take a wing and then try and move it up 3/4 of an inch to get.
Or just-
well, it came with the car.
Or take like a piece of that you cut out from the car
Right.
and made it too big because
Yeah.
it came
Yeah.
with the car. It's not
Yeah.
the wing
Right,
that
right,
came
right,
with
right.
it.
Yep, that's why it's as intended in their design. So then no splitters too. If you're running a splitter in the front or front valance, whatever you want to call it, that cannot extend more than a 1/2 inch from the edge of the body. So you can't have a big long splitter on there with supports like a ricer or anything like that. And then we got
Full body kit.
no veil side kits on your drag cars, people. The rear body cutout, which on the vet, that's how they are. The rear of the body is mostly cut out already. The rear section, the valance bumper panel, may be removed, but must retain the original rear side quarters, trunk lid, or pickup bed. Like if you got a Traxxas drag slash with a bed on it, you can cut the tailgate out, but you got to leave the bed sides. And then body holes. This is kind of a tough one too, because people might run, like this one's got a couple sets of holes on it for different cars.
Well, this
But
that's the thing. They didn't really clarify, but
specifies,
when I asked about it, they told me what they allowed. So it's that amount of holes, other than the body mount holes.
right. So you get 4 holes, no larger than a 1/2 inch, total, not from center outward, just 1/2 inch hole. Any location on the body are allowed. So, hood, windows, windshield, roof, back of the car, whatever you think might help you, 1/2 inch max. Window cutouts are not allowed, so you can't go cutting out the whole window. And no extra holes. Actually, no, extra holes will be needed to cover in tape. I butchered that one, but you need to cover your extra holes in tape.
You got 5 holes covered.
Cover it. Yeah, put tape over it, inside and out too, as suggested. And then tire prep. This is another important one because last season we didn't run any prep up here. This season we want it run properly. Tire prep is allowed, but that burnout is going to be required before staging. You're probably going to see me sitting at the tech table a lot, or Chris sitting at the tech table a lot. If you come through and I'm, looking at your tires and there's a little teardrop of prep coming off the bottom of them, I'm not even going to tech your car. They can't be dripping wet when you come through tech. It's going to be dry.
That's just prep on the tires, not
That's
the track.
it.
Right.
That's
That's
it.
tires.
That's all.
Track is dry.
Yep. No coming up and leaving snail trails.
Yeah.
That's why we're not really running the 7th or 8th scale cars
That is
at our events because the
probably
tire
the one
preps.
we're gonna monitor the most because
Yeah.
we don't want the track surface getting messed up.
Yeah, which in future videos too, we've touched on a little bit in ours. We'll link to the pages that we go live on too. We'll probably even get into it here
Yeah.
once we do tech tips and stuff.
For sure.
We'll show you exactly how to set up
Yep.
prep in a way that
Yep.
works. It's very easy, no matter what brand of prep you use, really. I mean, you can set it up nice and dry, so when you come through tech and pop the heaters off,
We
it's
even
not.
included that in
it's
the
not,
flyer. Look at the bottom there.
Yeah, so you're not dripping wet. And then another important one, because I know some of the stock cars that you could come into RC Madness here and buy have this stuff, so you got to disable it, is your assists or gyros, like TSM or AVC on the Spectrum stuff.
Any steering or driver assisted.
Got to shut it off.
Yep, and it can all be shut off as well. So don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't tell them. Oh, it can't be shut off. I'm gonna race it. It can be shut off. I'm here to tell you. I've done it on everything.
Pretty easy. And then 13.5 is the same rules, pretty much, right? 'Cause did we have that printed out?
I didn't print that one out yet because there was
Okay.
a little bit of confusion in the rules because they actually changed it.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
they changed
They
a couple
did?
of things. Yeah, they changed a couple of things.
Okay, so we'll
There's
get to that.
a new wheelie bar thing that Chris was telling me about.
any kids under 14
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
were allowed to use a wheelie bar until their first win.
Okay. Yep. So that makes it a little easier for the kids to get into it, so they're not flipping over backwards.
Yeah.
So then the 13.5 rules are very, very close, almost the same. as outlaw, except for
It's
obviously
13.5
your
motor.
motor limit is 13.5.
And it's
And no timing, no boost,
No
and it's
boosting.
blinky mode
Yeah.
with a 13.5 turn. So then that's good. So kids 14 or younger, once you win, you got to take it off. But until then, run a wheelie bar. We will have more specific rules posted too, so we can give you the link to that,
Yeah,
link to the
something
videos.
like that right there.
Oh, yep.
Oh, the body rule is different as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to go over that, Chris? Show them the 13.5
So-
a little bit. This is your standard looking 13.5.
Cool body. That's yours, kid? Nice,
Yep.
huh? I like that.
Got your RCMadness on the back there.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is your typical kind of 13.5 car, no wheelie bar.
So in the 13.5 class, they did not want pro mod bodies.
Yeah.
So no, the Corvette
So it has to look even more realistic,
has to.
basically.
gotta
That's,
have the- it's
there's
gotta have
that's
the
actually a
taillights.
realistic body.
Well, you're right. Maybe it has
But
to
it's
look
not.
more.
It's got to be
More
streetable.
street car, yeah.
Yep.
Something you might pull up to on Saturday night.
Where's the line?
On the street.
Where's the line drawn on that one?
Rear body cutout and really how raked the body is in design.
Gotcha.
Obviously this square body is a square body. You know, if it had a nice narrow front and a big back to it with more of a slanted windshield and rear windshield than it would have in real life, then you're getting into pro mod.
Proportions have to be a little more.
Yeah,
Yep.
and with 13.5
Realistic.
you got to have a scale accessory too. So whether that's, detailed wheels, a blower, exhaust, headlights and taillights,
Any of those
really,
options.
yeah,
Yeah,
basically any of your scale details there.
Gotcha.
Audio boxes if you want something like that, depending on
Nice.
drift cars and whatnot. And then you want to talk about the bracket class?
Yeah. So I decided that we wanted to run a bracket class here to try to get just more people involved in the drag racing and introduce them to drag racing. So with bracket racing, there's no rules on as far as which car you can run.
Okay.
So you can take any car from the shop and go out there and run it.
With the exception of nitro or 7 scale.
Yeah. None of that.
Just because nitro will come up the track over time, so this isn't a way to sneak in a limitless.
Yes, exactly.
Or a T-Max 3.3.
T-Max.
So we're still gonna put a minimum dial in. A bracket class is you have to have a dial in, and I'll explain that in a second.
Okay.
We're gonna keep it at like 650 dial in, just to keep the day flowing.
Keep the event going.
Alright.
So there's no minute passes,
So, I mean,
crawlers or anything like that.
Like, I mean, unless you have a fast crawler, but
You got TRX4 and high
The
gear
average
with 7,000 kV in it, take it out
stock
there.
like Traxxas truck or something like that will run in the low fives.
Right. Like
Okay.
an XL5
XL5.
Slash or Bandit or something
Yeah.
like that. Rustler.
So it's a way to get everybody out there.
Buy something
no
and
matter what
race
you
it.
got. Okay. I like
Yep.
it.
So, what you do in bracket racing, for those that don't know, is we actually enter your dial-in into the timing system. So, say you want to go out there and test and figure out what your car is consistent at running.
Which you'll have time for
You
that
don't
in the
want to.
morning.
You don't want to. This ain't a class to try to run your fastest time. This is
Right.
the class that you want to run a consistent time. Once you figure out what your car is consistent at, when you come up to the line, you tell us what your dial-in is. We enter it into the porta tree, and then the porta tree system will activate the tree according to your time. So, say if you had a 250 dial-in and Cody had a 4.0 dial-in because he's slow.
Very slow.
Dial-in is just the time that you've been running most consistent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So during practice, that comes into consistency too. Try to run the same time over and over. Clean your tires the same way, prep the same way, put your battery in the same spot. Just run consistently.
So
what
the
this
car
class is
that's
all about.
dialed in at 400, the light will come down for them first,
Okay.
and then it factors in the difference between the two. So then the 250 car will get
Oh, so
let
they
go
should
after
more or less be finishing
at the same time.
Pretty
same
much.
time if the car's
So,
running.
Depending on reaction time.
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
So reaction time is very important in bracket class, and getting as close to your dial-in as possible without going too fast.
Yep.
So if you go too fast, that's called a breakout.
Gotcha.
So if you have a 240 dial in and you go to a 225, you broke out.
So
Then you would
lost.
lose.
Unless you both break out. Then it's
So-
whoever broke out the least. So say if I'm dialed 240 and I run a 225, or if you're dialed 240 and you run 238, you would take it because you broke out.
You were still
less
closer to your
than me
dial.
because you were closer.
Gotcha.
So if you both break out and hit the negative, really it's still whoever's closer to that dial, no matter what side it ends up on.
That's cool.
As long as you both red light.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so that's a cool
Well,
class.
breakout
Because
on
then
it.
you can come in and buy a drag slash, you and your buddy can buy a low C ready to run, and you guys can race.
Yep.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
turning ABC off or any of that.
Yeah, just run it.
Just run it the way it is.
So yeah, if you guys are wondering what you want to run without spending, $1 million on buying a street outlaw,
Mhm.
you can come down with a group of friends and run the breakout class. So that's pretty awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that was one of just something to try to pull in more people that aren't into drag racing for them to try it out.
Yeah.
Right.
The bracket. That sounds good.
It's like the perfect beginner class.
Yeah.
Really. Or it's the perfect class for dedicated weekend warriors like us and other people out there. I mean, if you want to
I
set
can
up
see
your
it.
outlaw
Yeah.
car to do a
Yeah, I can see it just being
225
fun.
consistently. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Like I've
Just
got a
to
front
see
wheel
how
drive
consistent
car.
You can get the car. Yeah.
Right, like I've got a front wheel drive car that I'm going to run in bracket just to
Oh, that's cool.
figure the car out.
Okay.
And it's kind of the perfect beginner class because some other places you go and they have like a box stock class, and then it runs into, well, there's box stock DR10 and there's box stock low C and there's box stock Traxxas. So instead of having to add 3 or 4 box stock classes, you just say, hey, run your practice laps, figure out what you're running, and run it in bracket. And then anybody can race anything. You could beat me on a 250 if I ran a 195 but dialed in a 205.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a good chance to beat a guy going faster than you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can we'll be up here almost every Saturday as
Oh,
much
yeah.
as we can.
Probably during the week you'll see 1 or 2 of our faces too.
Yeah, but the timing system will definitely be set up
Yeah.
on every Saturday. That will be the good day for you to come and do your testing.
For sure. Yeah.
When it come race time, it's the structure that we'll be following.
And it's hard because in the morning everybody wants to test on race day. Everybody's trying to get as
Right.
many runs as they can in before we get started. And
Yep.
Are we gonna do no timing during testing?
No, we'll let them do. 'Cause
Yeah.
we'll
Just
let 'em
follow the
come.
rules with no
Yeah.
running back, and be careful with the timing system and stuff. But yeah, we'll be up here, every single weekend. So definitely come up here, no matter what class you plan on running. Bracket, Outlaw, 13.5, Gasser, which we'll talk about next. Just get out there, get familiar with your car. I always like to use the analogy racing's like building a house. Do it the same way on both sides. So if you're gonna want to run consistently, clean your tires the same, put your battery in the same spot, care for your car the same way. Consistency is key.
Yeah, it's
So
huge.
build that house the same way on both sides, or you're gonna have a crooked house. So then
So
we'll
both
talk
houses.
about Gasser. Gasser's a new class that's going to come to our events. It's something that the Dirty Den, shout out to them, those guys run this class at their events. Last year was their first year running it as a
There was only a
dedicated
few of them.
class.
But there's
Um,
going to be quite a few this year.
There's going to be a lot more. Yeah, we've
I've
seen.
heard I've talked to probably at least 10 people that are doing
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a good class. Honestly,
it's
you
really
can.
cool low budget class.
Yeah, you can roll into the Gasser class. I think I had talked to Tim a couple weeks back, and we kind of roughly priced out a car, and it was like $400. So it was like the cheapest way. You basically come in, buy a 2-wheel drive slash, take the trophy truck body off of it, and put what is it, a 60s era or
It's a wide range of it.
Yeah.
But it's
old
I think the
schoolish
cutoff
bodies.
was like 1970 or something,
Something
or
like
80
that.
or something. He said.
Yeah,
yeah.
and put a different body on it with some drag tires out back. Run it. You just gotta jack
even
the
if
front
you,
up a little bit.
You got a slash. All you really need to do is put some spacer or stiffen up the front end.
Yeah, the little plastic clips they give you. Just pop them in the
That'll
shock
give you
so it
the
brings it up a
little
little
nose height
Yep.
to it.
Yep.
You don't have to do much to it.
Rear bandit shocks in the front and the front one's in the back.
Yep, pretty
There you
much.
go.
That's it. Same battery rules all the other classes you'll see is a 2S 8.44 volt max. Must be a factory style. LCG is okay. Plastic tub chassis. I mean, high center of gravity, low center of gravity, either one's fine. And buggies are allowed with the correct body. So if you have like a B6 buggy that's in the right wheelbase and stuff with the right body and it sits the right way, you can run that. Rubber tire class again, no foams. Stock streetcar body pre-80s, that's kind of that body. The Proline rat rod body is okay, but it must have a gasser stance. Now that's the one that the wheels are not covered, right?
Right.
Because you would see that car at the track running in a gasser class. If you were to go up to New Hampshire or New York or whatever, any of the drag strips, you'll see cars with not covered tires running in gasser. No pro mods.
This
too.
class actually allows you to stick the tires out from the body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gassers in real life do have tires sticking out. They're not tucked in.
Looks like they're on a truck chassis, almost like a big lift kit, tires sticking
Yeah.
out. No pro mods in this one, so no
So you don't
Corvette
have
stuff.
to. You don't have to put the Bandit arms on.
Yeah, you could probably get away with
The stock arms.
the stock ones or the wrestler arms.
Yeah, because the body's not going to be in the way anyways when it's 2.5 inches over the
Literally
top of the
just
tire.
convert your slash with some drag tires and a body.
That's it.
Yep.
Yep. And you could probably,
Yeah.
cut these out so the tire can stick out.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the easiest way into the drag racing game.
Yeah, 100%. It's just as easy as running anything you buy in bracket too, really, because with the nature of the hobby, you're gonna want to modify stuff. So
You're gonna get there.
it's nice and
I
easy.
saw it on there.
So no pro mod bodies, like I said, no vet, none of that, no bitty bodies or anything. Scale accessories are a must in this class too, like blowers, zoomy, parachutes, bull horns, headlights, taillights. Driver, if you have clear windows and you want to put, a shaggy doll in there and look like a driver, we can count that. Whatever you want to do. Must have that gasser stance look. So this 13.5 in front of you with the nose down like that, can't do it. It's got to be that lifted front and not necessarily squatted rear. You don't want that Carolina squat going on. You just want, like a lifted gasser stance. Basically anything you'd see at a full-scale drag race. And then, very important here is Traxxas XL5 ESC with a sealed Titan 12-turn. That's the only motor, that's the only ESC you can run. You can't use your axial 12-turn. We're just doing the Traxxas system in this, which is probably one of the cheapest systems you can get your hand on to run.
Probably the easiest one to find, honestly.
Yeah, and you
I
can't...
imagine most people are gonna make these out of slashes anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And there's no timing. You can't do anything. So
Right.
it's a nice spec class. And then, like I said, no timing or anything. 3-gear transmission on this one, so it's nice and easy. Allowed changes to the car are as follows: gearing, tires as long as they're rubber, shocks and shock oil. Do whatever you want. The body and the mounts, because the mounts might not work for every body. Could fall in the back of the windshield or something. What else? Oh, no wheelie bar, too, on gassers. No
That one-
bar.
Yeah, that one I actually questioned myself because gassers do have wheelie bars.
They do,
But
yeah.
that's what they put on there for rules. So
Yep,
we'll try it.
yep. That's
Subject
why
to
we're calling it
change.
the Dirty Den Gasser class. We're running their rules. It's their class, so no matter where you go to run it, whether it's with us or with them or wherever anyone else picks it up, it's going to be the same.
Yep.
And then with this, minimum weight, once again, is 2060.
That should be pretty easy to beat with a stock slash.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, that one was put in there for the buggies.
Oh, gotcha.
Right, because you could run
So-
into somebody
so-
with a pretty light buggy.
Is there no wheelbase rule or anything like that?
The
Because-
nature of the class itself and the bodies that you're going to run, your wheelbase is going to be pretty much right there. So if it's
So-
11
The
and
buggies are a little
3/4,
shorter.
Buggies are shorter and stuff
Yeah.
like that, so I guess...
They
Yeah.
did that to run like
That
the
Pinto
Pinto
body.
body,
right?
or
that's not-
even the Parma.
That's not a gasser body, though. Can you run a Pinto?
Falls
Yeah,
in
it's
the
the right era.
It falls in the year era.
Yep,
I guess so.
right ear
That'd be
category.
weird. I've never seen a gasser Pinto.
Parma has some, I think, bodies that work too.
Fair enough.
We've even got I had a guy asking me about the Pro Line. What is it, the Rock van? That van that they got there? It's the right ear.
Oh, yeah,
Told
the
him.
van. I did see
You
the
want to
van.
run the van in the gasser class? I'm
Have a
gonna tell you
shaggy
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's got to paint up the gasser mystery machine. Who's going to do that?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
All right, cool. So that's, I don't know, is that all the classes, or is there... That's pretty much
That's
it.
it.
That's it for the
Outlaw,
classes. Yeah.
13.5, bracket, and gasser.
So that's all the classes. So yeah, if you're looking to get into it, bracket is looking like it's a pretty sweet way to go. Or the 13.5 gasser class, obviously, probably going to be the cheapest option. And then if you do start out with a slash or something and do the gasser class, you could definitely work your way into like the 13.5 and then up to the
Right.
street limiter,
Yep.
with the same chassis really. So that's pretty cool. So basically, get a slash is what we're telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a bandit and do it even cheaper.
Bandit too, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because the Bandit you can upgrade to this stuff, and you don't have to narrow it. You just put the chassis on there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Throw all your stuff on
Or just
there.
get drag slash, I guess. Call it.
Or that too.
Yeah, you could run that in anything. Put the clips in the front and
Yeah.
run gasser, or put a 13.5 in there and run that.
Yeah, honestly.
Or put a 3.5 and a DRK in it and try and chase us down and outlaw.
Yeah.
Can
So-
do whatever you want with it, really.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So one more thing I want to do is maybe just run through a race day. Just kind of give them. We can talk about the dates and then just kind of a quick how
Sure.
a day will look. I think will be a good.
Yeah.
My one question is: are we racing Saturdays or Sundays?
Sundays.
Sundays.
Okay, so Saturdays are going to be practice, and
Yep.
then the race will be Sunday.
So Sunday morning, what are we gonna do? Like an hour.
Hour and a half at the most.
So obviously get here early. Once the timing's up, we'll probably do like hour and a half at max of testing on Sunday as well, just in case you didn't have time on Saturday, or if you're traveling, because there's a lot of people that are going to be traveling to these events multiple hours and just won't be here Saturday.
Sure.
We're going to run a tightly scheduled practice on Sunday morning too. When we say practice is a go, practice is a go. And when testing's over, testing's over. So when the track is closed, car's off the track, so we can fix timing or whatever we got to do. Blow the track off, because due to the nature of the layout here at RC Madness, we'll have to blow the track off, a little bit. I think last time I was here we had talked about trying to keep the dirt down a little
We
bit.
haven't
on Sundays.
scheduled. I believe, I'm talking to Chris. We haven't scheduled any dirt racing around these dates to try to minimize the dirt. And we have actually picked up a new roller for the dirt track this year, so it's
Cool.
going to be compact and wetted. So we're really trying to keep that down.
Yeah.
But when it's 100 degrees and
It
outside
dries
and,
fast.
and,
Yeah,
and
you can
windy,
only,
Yeah.
I can't do something. You know what
It's
I mean?
just
I bought a nice rolling blower too.
just the
so-
nature.
We'll
Yeah.
do the best we can, but yes, we will. We try to keep the dust
Tune
down.
for the elements.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's the same for everybody, honestly. So
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. For sure. So, just to go over a basic day, the first event we had was May 8th, I believe.
Alright.
May 8th.
Yeah. May.
So let's start May 7th. Morning of May 7th, you wake up. It's the best day ever. It's practice day.
it's
Race
beautiful
day's
out.
tomorrow.
It's beautiful.
It's a gorgeous day. There's no rain. Eat your breakfast. Just get your
Jinxed us
Wheaties.
already.
Get your Wheaties.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's okay if it rains on Saturday as long as it doesn't rain on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
So May 8th, right? You wake up the 7th, you come up, you get your practice in, you go to bed, eat a good dinner, wake up, eat your Wheaties once again. Get up here nice and early on Sunday because these are going to be some bigger events and there's only so much parking.
Yeah.
So if you want to be close to the track, try and get up here. We'll be up here before anybody setting up, obviously.
Yeah, I'm usually up here by 7.
Yeah, we're up here.
I mean, we're
early.
not getting a tree out or anything by then.
You
No,
just
but
get
we're
going.
good.
Now people are going to pull in at 6:30.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
If you guys have generators,
Don't do that.
Definitely bring a generator too.
Yeah.
Throwing that out there. I'll have power on the.
Yeah.
I have a power panel on the dirt track side, but I don't really have much for power on the paved parking lot because
Yeah.
we never really needed it. We're gonna work on that a little bit this year, but at the moment, if you got a generator,
Plus, depending on volume of people that are here for the events too, there's power out along the fence of the turf track too, right?
yeah, if you're all the way down there,
So
yeah,
if you park down there, which we'll have PA speakers, and
yeah,
we're working on multiple ways
got
to
equipment.
communicate with people, no matter where you park or where you station up, whether you're inside, outside, on the back, right with us.
Right, right.
So you show up, right? Take all your stuff out, set your table up, easy up whatever you have, get your car ready, get your batteries charged, your tires clean. You just want to make sure that when testing starts, you're over there and you're ready to test. Another big important thing that you want to make sure you're ready for is
Hold
tech.
on. You're gonna sign up to race
Correct.
ahead of time.
Before practice, yeah.
because you're not gonna use the tree until you get a bracelet.
That's
Yep.
right.
You're not even on the track
I like
until you're
that.
paid, set up to race. Yep.
I like that.
Which, some people might not like, but in the nature of competitive racing, no matter where you're racing, that's usually
how it is.
That's how it is. That's how it's gonna go. We had even talked about maybe opening sign-ups on Saturday. So
Why not, right?
yeah. So you're gonna have a bracelet if you're gonna be out on that track, which then again obviously be ready to go through tech. Another important thing to keep in mind on Sundays, once you go through tech, we're gonna probably be doing a little windshield sticker, something like that. Once you go through tech, you're gonna get your special club sticker, and your car is not leaving tech once you get that sticker. If you leave tech,
All the area. So we'll designate an area that you can't.
yeah, probably like along the fence, along the
Gotcha.
vinyl fence,
Okay.
right near the parking lot. Lean your car up right there, whatever you gotta do, put a mat down, whatever. Once you're teched, your car can't leave. If your car leaves, you're gonna get re-teched, so just try not to, for your sake, for our sake, for the event's sake. just make sure you're ready. Battery voltages, tires, prep not dripping. If you got heaters, you're going to have to take the heaters off so you can make sure you're not trying to sneak through wet tires, all that good stuff. So you're just going to get through testing. After testing, back to your pits. Make sure everything's clean, everything's charged. You break anything, try to get it fixed. That's when you can walk around and ask any of us or anybody you see there, hey, anyone running a bullet, anyone running a slash, I broke a control arm, or make sure you come in here. Yeah. These guys have probably every single thing you could ever need for a drag car.
Try.
Yeah, you could walk in here with nothing but a pocket full of money and walk out with a drag car.
We're definitely going to partner with you guys to make sure you guys...
Yeah,
because you guys just jumped into the drag racing yourself, so...
Yeah, we're still figuring it out as a store, so...
Yep.
But keep a lot of spur gears on hand.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to get... And this last year was a little weird with this whole supply chain thing.
Yeah, supply chain has been a hassle.
But do also keep in mind when you're building these third-party cars that there's a lot of custom parts on these cars, and you come to me with you're looking for some obscure carbon part on whatever car we just had here.
Might not happen.
I mean, I can only stock so much stuff here, and a lot of this stuff is like you got to wait a couple months to even get it. So keep that in mind when you're building your car. Maybe order a couple of spare parts here and there.
Yeah, you always want to try to get something that your local hobby shop carries.
Right. And if you're doing, Associated, Traxxas, Losi, we pretty much got all that stuff.
Yeah. I made the jump to Associated just because TLR can be kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah, they've been a little washy.
That's the beauty of that. You can get parts for that.
Slash, again, you can't go wrong with Slash because it's been the same for, I don't even know how many, 15, 20 years now.
Yeah. I mean, this car here is a carbon car, but it's Slash based. So
the important parts are
the parts that usually break.
You got Traxxas arms, bulkhead, bumper, all the stuff that you're gonna shear off. Oh, and those Proline tires that we were talking about too.
No, those are the
DEs.
Oh, DE.
They're similar though.
Same kind of deal though.
Yeah, those are the ones that have the little foam in them.
Yeah, so keeping it based with the
battery plug
with the right parts is gonna help you guys out too, because we can only stock so much stuff, and obviously we're gonna try to do more stuff.
But if you're running like an Apollo or a 5.7 or something like that, where everything is their stuff,
you're hit.
Order more. Yeah, have spares. Most of the people that are running that car are going to be able to, have spares on hand, we can say. So just keep that in mind. But if you're running a Slash, you could crack the thing in half, come in here and fix it, unless it's a carbon chassis. But yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Just duct tape, bubble gum. That's it. Yeah.
Look, not to go too much of a tangent on that one. I don't know where we left off on our race day.
Yeah, so
After Tech, I think.
After Tech, yep. After Tech, this is after practice is closed. Once testing, practice, whatever you want to call it, is closed. No cars on the track. If there's cars on the track after we closed it and we're doing track maintenance, that's going to be grounds for disqualification as well.
Pack your stuff up.
Yeah, which then again, that comes down to the discretion of the race directors, which is us in this event. And you just want to make sure that we're keeping the day flowing. None of this is to try and make enemies. We just want to make sure everybody can race the 4 classes that we have before 9 o'clock at night, because we all have families and dinner and hungry stomachs and whatnot to fill. So we want to try and keep everything flowing in an orderly fashion.
And then on Sunday, it's 6 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is, but yeah, 6 would be nice.
That's the goal. So we're trying to get done by 6.
Well, if there's 150 people here, I ain't gonna complain.
Not gonna
too
happen.
much.
Yeah, right.
You know what it is.
Yeah, might not be out here at 6. But so after Tech, you're going to get your car tech, battery charged, all that stuff. You can't take the battery out of the car and then bring it back, or Tech and then say, well, my battery's dead. Well, during Tech, you check your voltage, so you got to make sure that everything is buttoned up, ready to go.
Generally, try to be efficient.
Yeah, just be ready to run. Don't come up to Tech until everything is ready to go. Don't come up and say, hey, I just don't have my tires on. Can you tech it the way it is? Have everything on. If you're running prep for that run that you're coming up to, which just because we're running it doesn't mean you have to. We got some dry tire guys that'll keep up with you with dry tires, so you don't have to run prep. But if you are, have it dried, have it cooked in, however you do it. I know most of us cook it in. I'm a Monster Grip team driver, just with Bill, and I cook that stuff in. It's dry. You can't even look at the tire and really tell that it had prep on it because it's just back to being a not shiny, dry tire. So come through Tech like that. You want to be ready to just put the car down and make a hit. after tech is gone and we've cleared the track off and blown it off, I think between classes we'll probably assess every class and blow it off as needed. Maybe with the occasional end of the runway blow off just to keep everybody stopping safe.
Yeah.
It only takes 2 minutes, doesn't take much time out of the day. Especially if we buy time with doing everything efficiently like this, then we'll have time to keep the track cleaner. Just wait for your class or wait for your run to get called. Be sure you're ready. If they call 5, you'll be there with your car. You're ready to go. Put the car on the line. After you're hit, don't race back. Very important. Pick up your car. Go back to your table. Celebrate your win or contemplate your loss, or if you want to buy back in, whatever you want to do. But immediately, get that car back on the table. Get the body off. Get the battery charging if you're moving on. Clean your tires. Assess the damage if there is any. You just immediately want to make sure that before and after your run, you're just focused on the car. That's it. Right. So when your run is done, go back to your pits, get the car ready for your next run before walk the pits, talk to people, anything like that. Buy a hot dog. Who knows? There's some hot dog and hamburger vendors at a lot of these races. Taco trucks even last year. So before you do any of that stuff or see Bill for your meat accessories, bun included, make sure your car's ready. And that way, if your number gets called and you're eating a hot dog, I just have to finish the hot dog for you and you can run up to your race. And that'll just keep everything flowing nice and smooth.
I guarantee you, if you tell me you want a hot dog and it stays on the grill because you didn't come pick it up, somebody's going to eat it.
Yeah, probably me. I'll eat it. Or Chris. We might even split it. But
Wow.
just make sure your car's ready. That's all. That's the most important thing, really, before you do anything else, because the nature of this sport is very fun. I mean, we've got kids. Colin does it. My kid usually comes up here. The wife comes up here. And, it's a fun environment. So before you get sucked into enjoying it, keep in mind that it is, a competitive race that you're at. Get that car ready before you head back up.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
So, the one thing that we didn't touch on here was how we're going to set up the ladders.
True.
There is some options that haven't come out
Yeah.
to the public yet that we're going to be trying. R1, I think, is coming out with an app for
What's that for? Setting up the...
sending out the races, so
Brackets.
like people can actually... It looks like they can pre-sign up,
Oh, okay.
so you can...
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's like an app, it'll go to everybody's phone
Yep.
or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So in
That's
the app,
interesting.
you'll go on a list basically. We don't want to say too much, obviously, because it's not
It's
ours
not
to
out.
speak on
Yeah.
or out yet. But they're working on where you
I
can
mean,
just go in and put in your
it's
zip code.
inevitable.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's consistent
it's
problems around the country with, certain setups or just
Organization and
time
stuff.
frame
Yeah.
issues.
So
So pulling chips does take a while sometimes. So
yeah, it needs to be redone once in a while. That's another thing we'll say before we even move on about the R1 app. When we're pulling chips, don't go anywhere. Don't take your chip and run off.
Yeah.
Wait. Take your chip and just stand there and love that chip. Know that number and be ready. Because
So
it's time consuming if you have to pull chips more than once.
yeah, so we're not this year. We're gonna be a little bit more. If we end up having to stick with the chips until these apps get sorted out,
Even the app I used last year for one of those events worked very well.
yeah,
Especially if we do a loser's bracket.
we'll end up doing. You guys pull your chips, and then we'll call you by the number of the chips. So you come and sign up
Yep.
under that number that you. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever.
And then we
Instead
take
of
your-
everyone just throwing their chips down and writing here and here and here and here, just do call up number ones. Come up, we'll write your name down.
Yeah.
Just
Or
keep
put it in
simple.
the app, whatever we end up using.
Because, the first round, if we use the app like we used last year with his, we can pull chips first, and that will set you up on the ladder because it's an app that you builds your ladder.
You just put everybody's name in it,
Yeah.
and then you click who won, moves them on.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Actually, I think there's a randomizing option in there.
I would
Yeah, I
imagine,
think it was. Yep.
I would imagine quite a few of these timing system people are going to come out with something. I mean, realistically, this is the second year of...
Is it live
Somewhat
times?
official.
Live times, I think,
Live-
is working
yeah,
on a
live
very
time-
good one.
live-
They have a
time-
really awesome system.
That's what we use.
I was on the pre-order list for that, and I called them probably about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Do you guys have any news? Do you,
No,
can
they
you tell
haven't.
me anything?" And
Not
it's a
yet.
supply issue for them. It's not even they have the system. It's figured out. They know what they're doing. They just can't get the parts to build it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
computer stuff is ridiculous.
We'll have it figured out.
We use their timing system for all our racing here, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It broadcasts to live and all that. It's awesome.
Yeah, so when that hits drag racing, it's gonna be huge.
Oh, it's going to
Yeah,
be amazing.
next level, for sure.
But
Yeah.
you just
Yep.
I'm sure
Unfortunately, right
I'm
now,
sure
it's a
they're
waiting
trying
game.
their best to get it out there too. So.
Yeah, it's just a little different because we're
Can't
not
knock on them.
running laps.
Yeah.
So the software and hardware.
But it really is pretty much the same. It's just it's a 2-second race instead of
Yeah.
a 5-minute race.
Yep.
Really.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I understand the hardware situation right now is. Yeah.
Yep.
Can't knock them for that.
Nope. But regardless, whether that's out or R1's out or anything, we'll have it figured out. A couple minutes of disorderly conduct. Chips are pulled and decided, everything will move on. So from that point, once you have your number, if your car's not ready yet, you'll probably not have gone through tech, obviously, when we're building the tree. But once that process is done, focus on your car, get that car ready to go through tech. That's really the most important thing I can say. It doesn't matter what class you're running, bracket, anything like that. You always want to make sure your first priority is getting that car ready to race.
Yeah.
Because that affords you the time to try and figure out what chip number you are, or when you race, or anything. Just gives you all that good stuff.
And we're
Use the
teching every
bathroom,
round, right?
anything.
Teching every round.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. Tech every round. Yep.
And then run your racing. Loser gets eliminated.
That's it.
All the way down to.
Yeah.
And then,
So when we do, if we depending on crowd size, it would there's still a possibility for first round buybacks.
Right.
Are we doing? Is this winner for cash, or are we doing trophies? What's the deal with that?
A little bit of both.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure.
Cash entry. Blah. Outlaw and 13.5. Did you have them written down? Outlaw and 13.5 are both $20 for an entry fee. These guys were nice enough. Chris and Tyler had waived track fees for this year. So
And
all you
event
have to
flare.
do is
Because we were going to do event flares.
Yeah, we can always do a specific one for May 8th, but no track fee. So you just pay your class fee. Obviously, as the bracket boils down, the winner takes that money. Entry fee for bracket and gasser, we were going to do $10. And then the buyback for Outlaw and 13.5 was going to be, are we doing a loser's bracket? Are we buying back into the main? That's something that we're kind of still working on.
Probably be determined by how many people actually buy back in, right?
Yeah, that's true. Because if it's only 3 people, not really worth putting together a whole bracket just for those 3 people. But if there is, a large turnout and there's 20 people booted in the first round, we have the option to run what's called a loser's bracket. Okay. So you would buy back in probably $10 instead of the 20, and then everybody that's in that loser's bracket races for a cumulative total of their buybacks. So separate from the main pot, separate from the main event, they have their own little pot that they race for. Just so if you drive out here and you're out in the first round, you didn't drive X amount of time and do all this to race for 2 seconds and then go home.
Literally.
It happens all the time. I mean, it's happened to all of us.
That's why you got to come Saturday.
Come out Saturday and have your fun, right? Get your time out of it. But there's that possibility to run a loser's bracket, so everybody has another little pot that they can run for. Or if there's only 5 or 6 of them, whether it's on paper or in that app, we had figured out a nice, easy way to just throw you right back in the mix. You buy back in. That's it. I think if we're going to do it in a manner that they're bought back into the main event, your buyback is going to be another $20. We don't want to give anybody the chance to go win the pot for a half price buyback, just because even though you still have paid $30 to enter that race instead of the other guy's $20, some people kind of feel like, oh, well, they bought back in for half price and then they won. So just
Which happens all the time.
Yeah, but just to cut that out.
I've bought back in
and won.
And
won.
won.
I think I bought back into Fall River back in May and then won.
Believe it or not, I get my butt kicked once in a while.
Yeah. I try my best. I've got them a couple times, maybe one day.
So that's
But so it'll give you the chance to kind of get back out there. Say if you just make a bad hit, or somehow you don't charge your battery, or whatever it is. Even though you're gonna come through tech, and I'm gonna go, hey, your battery's like 750. But it gives you that chance to get back out there and have another chance of winning.
Cool.
I think the first race we might not do it just to see how it flows.
Right.
Just to keep it orderly.
First race is always a bit of a trial.
Try to come and plan on running multiple classes. I mean, like I said, you can run anything in bracket class, so
yeah,
sign up for both.
Right.
That'll give you some racing. You can run the same car in both classes.
Yep, that's fine with us. As far as 2 cars and outlaw, are we allowing that? Or we just do 1 car entry, just one car per person? Yeah. Just to keep it easy, keep it fair. I know we've seen some people run 2 cars and then bump themselves out, draw their own chip, something like that. So just to keep it easy, One car, one guy, one car. That's it. You can't have 3 cars in the same race.
I like that. Yeah.
You know, a lot of the guys in our area have allowed multiple cars, and the problem is the consistency of how they manage the first round, basically. So when you're in the first round and the guy pulls the same chips, some races that you went to allowed you to change your chip that first round, but others did not. So you paid that money to join the race, and you can't even run your car because you're racing yourself.
Yep.
So you got.
So you're racing yourself. That's weird.
So to
One car.
negate all of that.
Well, that's also
one.
why we put the stuff down on paper, so there's not any confusion on what's allowed and what's
I'm
not
sure there
allowed.
will be. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still going to be a couple, I'm
I
sure.
write down rules in paper all the time for this racing. There's still confusion.
Yep.
But we have a whole show about it. We got it written down. I mean, we're doing everything we can here.
Yeah. Plus, we're live over on a couple different pages that we'll link here too.
Yeah, of
Tyler
course.
put them
Check
on
these
there.
guys out. For sure.
We've been doing something weekly on Saturdays, right around before, after-ish dinner time, usually on the Connecticut RC Drag Racing page. We talk about all this stuff, so we're getting into this early now while there's still frozen ground,
Yeah.
so that there's little to no reason that anyone showing up to an event doesn't understand. We're gonna try and give you all the time possible to understand rules, track rules.
All right.
You should be good to go. We're gonna give you plenty of content.
I'm going to run it through a weekend because this is the first time I've heard it. So we're all hearing the same thing. Saturday, test and tune.
Yep.
Show up, get your stuff worked out.
Figure it out. Yep.
Okay. Sunday, the event. Get here early. We're going to set up the tree. Hour and a half practice, depending on turnout.
Yep.
We're going to pull chips. Get the race bracket or whatever organized. Then we'll do whatever races up next. Tech.
Yep.
Race. Do the eliminations. Second round. And then rinse and repeat for the other classes until we're over.
Yep.
Then winner takes the pot or trophy or whatever it is end that day.
I know at some events they'll do like 1 round of outlaw, then they'll do one round of 13.5.
Yeah,
one
however
round of
you guys want to make
We're
it
just
up.
gonna run straight through, do the whole class. You want to do it
No.
like that or
No.
switch them?
We're gonna switch.
Okay.
Now, if the class is only 4 cars,
That's different.
we're just gonna wipe it out.
Yeah,
You know,
Sure.
get it out of the way.
Okay.
But just because like these cars take time to turn around.
Yeah.
Bracket class, like we can run if there's a lot of bracket cars, we can run it through a few rounds of those because you don't necessarily going to have a car that you have a lot of maintenance.
Of course, the day will be more laid back or more serious depending on turnout. I mean, if you get 20 guys, not so bad. If you get 70 guys, you kind of we gotta push things a little bit,
Right.
Because we only have so much daylight. Regardless if I want to be here all night or not, we can only run so long.
Can only run for so long, yeah.
So
A lot of these really big events are just run into one class, but they still have 100+ cars.
yeah,
And they're
You know,
full
100,
weekend
200.
races, Friday, Saturday testing.
What are we gonna do minimal car counts for classes? So
4.
yeah.
Yep.
So if you got
Need at least 4, yes, at least 4 cars.
Yep.
Because you can't. I mean,
I don't really see their
I guess if you both want to put
Be an
$20
issue.
in and race each other for 40,
Yeah, it's basically a bridge race. Go
knock
ahead.
yourself out.
yep, exactly.
Might as well just race your buddy.
I don't really see it happening though. I think we're gonna have some very, very
Yeah,
good turnouts.
Turnout's gonna be solid this year.
I know just between me and Chris, we've probably talked to 40 people from hours away that are gonna come out to race.
I
with
mean,
us
just
this
for the
season.
races that we put together on the fly this
Just
past year,
$5 Saturday
Yeah,
races, there
I
was
mean-
25, 30 people sometimes.
it's gonna be insane, honestly. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any more information that you guys would like to relay. I think we went over just about
Just plug the
everything.
pages, that's probably it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So check out RNS Racing, that's us on Facebook. It's RNS Racing, RNS Drag Racing Team. That's what it is. And then there's Connecticut RC Drag Racing, another page that we post on a lot. And just to give you guys our schedule too, to expect that, we'll have Tyler post this up. We'll post it up on the pages and share it to the RC Madness local racer page and whatnot tonight.
Yep.
Our 6 main events are going to be May 8th, June 12th, July 10th, August 14th, September 18th, and August 9th. All Sundays. Get up here the Saturday before that to race. Get your testing down. So that's our 6 main events.
Yeah.
And we'll see you then.
So yeah, guys, check out their pages, of course.
Yep.
Feel free to message these guys if you got any questions, or hit us up. These are pretty much the rules that we're gonna run by. I think that's pretty much it. We are going to do another show talking more about the cars in depth, not so much the rules, but we want to get the rules out here, like Cody said, bright and early before the season even starts. So if there's any questions, we can work it all out before the first event.
That way, if you're building cars too, you know what to build.
Exactly.
What rules to follow.
But we'll definitely do another show on the technical, tire prep, ESC stuff, car, the whole show.
Give you some of the secret sauce.
The secret sauce, not too much of it though. But anyway, thank you guys for coming on.
Absolutely.
having us.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with Tyler P. He sat out because he's not much of a drag race guy, but we're gonna work. We'll get him into it. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next show.
Peace out.
See ya.